geometry. Featured lessons for each school will be covered separately. I will begin with the high school placement and the drawing lesson. The name is derived from the final assessment. The lesson itself spans several units of discovery in short 1 to 3 day learning opportunities called boot camps. The style is consistent with the modified choice curriculum, recognizing student voice and engagement. Let's get started. The basis of the lesson was to create a work of art that depicted a dream or nightmare the artist had, or their idea of a dream or nightmare. Learners were given the choice of material and techniques that were learned over the course of the quarter. Advanced students were given the choice of using a new material with techniques learned over the course of the quarter or discovering new techniques to showcase the material. Quality Standard 2, recognizing diverse learners. At the beginning of the quarter, they were given a pre-assessment. To see where they were with material understandings and technique. During the pre-assessment, they were offered the materials that they would later explore. Charcoal, colored pencils, pencil, pen, and ink. They were not offered any instructions save the prompt. Here are a few examples of student pre-assessment works. The enduring understandings. Artists use elements of art to effectively communicate their ideas, and artists use symbolism to create their visual language. Reflect student exploration of art as a visual language and a means for communication of their ideas. The objectives of the lesson, laid out here, focus on exploration of materials and techniques, reflection of their process and studio habits, using personally relevant imagery to express their ideas, and create work showcasing techniques and materials that they have learned. A little more about boot camps. As the term says, anything but art. So in this instance, boot camp really refers to learning opportunities and focused practice of techniques taught. For instance, in their observational unit, they learned how to observe people and crowds through an exercise called stakeout. Read more about this activity on the SCHS art website, paintingsilvercreek.weebly.com. Quality Standard 3, Integration of Technology. Drawing students always want to learn how to shade and create objects that reflect realism. In relation, their second unit focused on creating value, utilizing the 4 materials that were offered at the beginning of the quarter. This allowed them to build skill and explore more fully the materials that they may not have normally chosen to use. Quality Standard 1. Looking at the standards and how lessons align with them, under Comprehend, students practice observing their surroundings and objects to draw what they see and not what they know. Quality Standard 1, Alignment. Learners were given a 2-day tutorial on how to ideate using research and contemporary artists as inspiration, planning out their work through sketch building and ideation exercises, and reflecting on their process and making revisions as necessary. Each learner was encouraged to create their own ideas, building on personal interests. Very little limitation was given in the area of content, connecting real-time relevance from their life to their art, and critically thinking through areas of difficulty. Quality Standard 2, Engaging Students. I mentioned a choice-based curriculum. All the students of the art department at Silver Creek assessed their own work using a department-created rubric and self-assessment questionnaire. Each assessment that I issued at Silver Creek was crafted for each lesson based on an existing template of general questions, focusing on the 4 areas of studio practice and reflection: techniques and concepts, invention, craftsmanship, and effort. There's a high expectation placed on writing and expressing in detail using proper grammar. Quality Standard 3, Establishing High Expectations for Learners. That concludes the information surrounding the Dreams and Nightmares lessons, Drawing 1 at Silver Creek. Before we move on, I would like to briefly share the website that I created for learners to reference during their lessons or for absences. On the website, there are areas for each of the 3 subjects that I taught, and a gallery area for a collection of student works from each class. You can reach those by going to the menu on the side, the little waffle bar there, going to Drawing, Line and How. This covers the perception of edges, their contour lines, and observation. And then Perception of Edges has all of the material boot camps. Also has an area for ideation, specifically geared towards the Dreams and Nightmares assignment. And then their actual criteria for their lesson, or for their assessment, sorry. And then back to the gallery area, go to the home page and go to gallery. It has a collection of all 3 of the class different subjects that I taught, painting, 2D, and drawing. And the drawing has all of the finished works for this assignment. Quality Standard 5 demonstrates leadership. And this website, as I mentioned, can be reached at paintings, Silver Creek, all one word, .weebly.com, or through the links on my professional teaching website, crystalhines.weebly.com. Next, I would like to share the 2nd grade lesson, Critter Haven. Though the 2nd graders shared this lesson with the kindergartners and 1st graders, we will focus on the 2nd grade art learning. The enduring understandings of this lesson: artists can work in 2D or 3D form to express their ideas, and artists use visual language to tell stories. 2nd grade artists explored art making in both 2D and 3D for this lesson, beginning with sketches and building to a 3D object. Each learner created a story about their critter. A little about the lesson. This lesson was chunked into several parts and spanned 5 days, Quality Standard 2 and 3. Through inquiry and storytelling, learners discovered their own idea of a critter. Learners later read the book Welcome Home Bear, a story about each animal having just the right place to be. Learners then continued to build their own story about their critter by creating a special place for their critter. Throughout the lesson, each learner developed their story differently each day, reflecting and revising. I listed the art learning present in this lesson. I will not recite them, but instead allow you a moment to read them before we move on to a video clip I have prepared of the 2nd graders during their ideation process. In the video, learners are using reusable dough to transform their 2D images into 3D objects. You can hear some of the stories already developing. Talk to me about your critter. What's happening here? He's looking for prey. Elephant turtle. Tigers. You cannot dig one. Made a cheetah. Wait, there's one more thing I want to make on here. A word. These are cool. Oh, I see your dragon too. That's nice work. And you are working on your cat. If you would like to view the rest of the video, please visit artistsniwat.weebly.com. On this website, you'll also be able to view a gallery of finished works by all 3 grade levels. More about that later, though. The objectives for this lesson: tell a story, explain their process, explore materials, and create meaningful art were met by each learner at varying levels. Connecting the standards to this lesson, we'll begin with comprehend. Learners explored materials, learning limitations of their materials, basic hand building techniques for clay, new folding and cutting techniques with paper, and the concepts of 2D versus 3D. Reflect. Learners worked through their ideation and prepared their finished work for a presentation in a gallery setting. Create. Learners created personally meaningful art and stories about their art, utilizing prior knowledge and new knowledge about the world around them. Transfer. Storytelling through visual language about personally relevant ideas. The assessments for this lesson were mostly formative, inquiry-based, and checking in with learners every day, talking about their progress and process decisions, reflecting with learners about struggles and solution finding. Their summative assessment was learner-centered, consisting of their artist statement. Learners answered 3 questions: what is your critter's name, where does it live, and what is its favorite thing? The last question was left broad to encourage learners to consider the possibilities. This concludes the 2nd grade lesson. I would like to share just a couple of more things with you before I end this presentation. First, the website designed for Niwot Elementary, artists, Niwot, ele.weebly.com. Each grade has their own page here, and there is a gallery here with a few of the other lessons that we did. And then, of course, the exhibition page. If you're curious about any of my lesson plans, resource materials, or teaching tools that I use for these lessons, you can find them here on my professional teaching website, crystalheinz.weebly.com. You'll also find links to both of the previous mentioned sites for the schools, as well as this presentation and so much more. Thank you for your time.